Good evening. The following is a live broadcast for the City of Kingsport Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Board meetings are regularly scheduled on the first and third Tuesdays of each month at 7 p.m. In advance of the BMA meeting, a copy of the agenda is available for inspection at the Kingsport Public Library, City Hall, or online at kingsporttn.gov.
Good evening. Welcome to the Kingsport Board of Mayor and Alderman business meeting. This is the meeting where we do vote on various items. Today's Tuesday, January 17th, and the first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, led by Mr. Ken Weems, our head planner in the city, and please remain standing for the invocation to be led by Pastor Adam Love from Mayfair United Methodist Church.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today we offer prayers for all who exercise leadership around us, especially our Kingsport Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Grant them your peace and wisdom as they make decisions in the matters that will impact on the education of our children, and matters that will have an impact on our environment, and matters that will have an impact on our safety, and matters that will have an impact on how we live and relate to one another. Grant them wisdom and peace, and guide them to seek a common vision for our common good. When solutions seem impossible, show them the way. Where there are differences, let your love prevail. Heal our divisions. Let us rise beyond the culture wars to embrace you and your vision of shalom for all people. Through Jesus, our Savior, who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Pastor, thank you, and please be seated. Madam Recorder, please call the roll.
Mayor Schul.
Here.
Vice Mayor George. Here. Alderman Cooper.
Here.
Alderman Duncan.
Here.
Alderman Montgomery.
Here.
Alderman Alterman.
Here.
Alderman Phillips.
Here. Well, thank you. All 7 elected members are present, as well as the city manager and appropriate staff. Mr. City Manager.
All right, we have 3 recognitions on the agenda tonight. We'll begin with a proclamation honoring late Mike McIntyre, former Vice Mayor, and Mayor Scholl, and Vice Mayor George. Vivian.
Tonight, we'd like to recognize our former Vice Mayor, Mike McIntyre, who passed away late last year. Of course, I knew Mike for many years. I guess I first met him when I was an alderman, and he chaired the Planning Commission. And then most recent years, we spent a lot of Saturday breakfasts together, and I know Mike enjoyed those breakfasts. But before I read this commendation, I asked the Vice Mayor, Colette George, to accompany me and say a few words, because Colette succeeded him as Vice Mayor, and she served with him several years on this board. Colette?
Well, and they gave me some talking points. And, you know, I mean, I just love Mike. And he was, I mean, one, he was so intelligent, but he also really thought out everything he said, everything he presented, everything he brought to the table. He put so much time into wordsmithing it to make sure that he truly presented his whole viewpoint and the whole story and the whole picture. And when I first met him, it was over 20 years ago. It was on the planning board. And you all know me, I don't wordsmith anything. And so I joined the planning board when he was already very seasoned and had been doing it. And I don't think I was one of his favorite people the first several years because he probably thought I was a little bit crazy and maybe a little bit blunt, and I have, people probably never know this about me, but I have a tendency just to say what I think. And it took Mike a while, I think, to decide that I was halfway intelligent. And we really got to have, we served 10 years together on the planning board and then served on the BMA together. And we ended up being just the best of friends. I rode with him and on different trips, and we did not always agree on things. And he is one of those people that he was very logical. He would argue his point or present his point. I'm not going to say he argued, because he presented his point of view and why he felt that way. And it was all very thought out. And if you disagreed with him and he listened to what you felt like on the other side, and that was it. We could disagree and both probably come out as better people and still be great friends. And there's so few people that you can have those conversations and both end up feeling that you come away with more than you brought into it. And he did so much for Kingsport. He truly loved this city. And I know, he's from Kentucky. He graduated from there, where he met you. He worked at Eastman for 33 years and retired for his first job in '99. Then he went to work at the church and did fantastic things there. And, I know he was a great bridge player. I know he loved puzzles and games. And he did those so much. Who I knew him as was somebody that truly cared for Kingsport, and not just one set of Kingsport. He volunteered to help so many people with taxes. He volunteered and taught in the schools. I think y'all taught bridge. In Sevier. I need to learn bridge better now, but trying to teach anything to middle school kids, especially like bridge. He had so much patience. He volunteered at United Way. He drove on Meals on Wheels, and he did all of that for the good of Kingsport, not to get any recognition. He never even thought about getting anything in return. He just was such a good person to constantly look at there is a need and what do we need to make it better, and just do it. And, I admire that so much, because I'm sure there is a nonprofit board in Kingsport he didn't serve on, and probably just the reason is the other ones wouldn't let him go, because he was always serving on everything. And when he served, it wasn't just showing up. And he did the things that were hands-on and had the conversations that weren't just, he didn't do it to be in front of the TV camera. He did it to be behind the scenes, making a difference in people in Kingsport's lives, making a difference in this community where he wasn't born, but he moved here, and we can't thank him enough. And, I said, I admire him. I hope that I am a better person. I'd like to think maybe I'm not as blunt as I used to be, that I think some things through. Not that I changed my mind very much, and I'm probably just as sarcastic, but, I think he really touched so many people's lives, and I don't think he ever even noticed that. I don't think he noticed how many people he made their lives better. But I love serving with him on the planning board. I love serving with him on this board. I like going to all the meetings. As I said, I really respected his point of view, and I respected the way he dealt with people on all levels. And I just think the world of him. And I'm sure I had other talking points, but as I said, I know he was in Rotary and Second Harvest. I said he did Meals on Wheels. He received the Live United Award. But, he really did stay active in this community. And I hope he knows how much this community appreciates him, and I hope you know how much we appreciate you all and you for letting him spend so much time making Kingsport a better place. So I'll let you read your book.
Thank you. As Colette emphasized, he was totally engaged in the community in the most positive way imaginable. In short, he modeled the whole concept of selfless service. City of Kingsport commendation, whereas Mr. Mike McIntyre served as an ideal example of servant leadership in the Kingsport community for over 55 years. And whereas he called Kingsport his home after graduating from the University of Louisville and marrying his wife Vivian, and whereas during his life he served on the Regional Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, Sullivan County Regional Planning Commission, Sullivan County Pre-Hospital Committee, Kingsport Stormwater Advisory Committee, Kingsport MTPO, which is the Transportation Planning Organization, the Emergency 911 Board, Sullivan County Food Bank Advisory Council, and the Kingsport Citizens Advisory Committee. And whereas after retirement from Eastman in 1999, Mike went on to serve as the church business administrator at First Broad Street United Methodist Church in 2001. And whereas he also served on the Board of Mayor and Alderman from 2011 to 2019, 6 of these years which were served as vice mayor. And whereas considering it an honor, he volunteered with numerous organizations, including the United Way of Greater Kingsport, where he was a site manager for the VITA program for 3 years, and that's doing taxes for folks, and that was really super. Now, therefore, I, Patrick W. Shull, Mayor of the City of Kingsport, and on behalf of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Kingsport, do hereby issue this official commendation in honor of Mike McIntyre for many years of service to the Kingsport community, making it a great place to live. Signed by me this day, Patrick W. Shull, Mayor. Vivian, he's missed. Thank you. Would you like to say something?
Well, I just want to thank Mayor Shull and Vice Mayor George and all of the members of the board and the staff, because you all were special to Mike. I think he would be truly honored that you have paid him this tribute to recognize his service on a number of boards and commissions and things in the civic and community organizations. This was truly an important part of his life and something that he truly enjoyed. So thank you for this commendation and for the official recognition of his years of service and contributions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor and Vice Mayor George, and Vivian, thank you as well. Mike was definitely missed, definitely a friend of all city staff. At this time, I'd like to invite Chief Phipps to come to the podium for his recognitions for the Kingsport Police Department Professional Achievements.
Thank you, Chris. Mayor, Honorable Board. It is always a pleasure and an honor of mine to be able to present to you individual officers who excel at their job. And we have a lot of them that do great work day in and day out. But I do want to take a moment in time to present these 5 individuals to you tonight, because most recently they have received some awards, and I want to present them to you all tonight for recognition. So let me begin by giving you 2 of my newest employees, Jalen Strayhorn and Cody Buchanan. Cody come from Bristol. I've known Cody since he believed Scooby-Doo was real. I've known him all his life. He's a great individual, comes from a solid family. He's a veteran of the U.S. Army, and he came to us through our intern program and decided to stay with us, and recently graduated from, let me see if I can get this right, the Blount County Regional Law Enforcement Training Academy, and he won the William Knuckles Outstanding Officer Award out of all the candidates that were there at the academy. So congratulations, Cody. Jalen Strayhorn comes to us from the west end of the state. He is a D1 athlete from Mississippi State. I still say Roll Tide, but that's neither here nor there. But he excelled at our Walter State Police Academy here recently, and he won the Tennessee Association of Chiefs of Police Outstanding Achievement Award. So both of our new candidates, obviously they went to 2 different academies because of scheduling, because of the time period they were hired. But still, even in 2 different academies, they went and excelled. They were the #1 selects out of both of those academies. So that's praiseworthy in and of itself. Detective Eric Steele, our most recent graduate from the University of Tennessee National Forensics Academy. Dr. Bass kind of started that, the bone farm, body farm, if you will, in Knoxville. He just attended a 10-week intensive course down there and came back and graduated. He's like I said, he's one of our detectives, and he's going to take that knowledge and really help us solve some intense crimes. And I appreciate his willingness to be away from his family for 10 weeks. I know they missed him during that period of time, but it is his dedication to this department is beyond measure. He comes from Wise, Virginia. He's been with us for several years and brought his talent to us. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Eric. Detective Jason Powers on the end there, he just recently graduated from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation State Police Academy, State Academy rather. It's set up similar to the National Forensic Academy. It's along the same line. It's not as intensive. It's only 4 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Jason? And so still learning the same curriculum, but just in an expedited manner, and went to down there and really excelled in his area of expertise. He's one of ours. He came through the jail, came through the ranks, and so we've maintained him, and really does outstanding
He didn't
work.
come out of the jail.
But, no, well, we won't get into particulars, okay? Okay. Last but not least is Matt McGuire. I'm sure y'all know Matt. He's appears on a lot of our action forms, particularly if it's centered around Tennessee Highway Safety Office. He is our liaison with them and has been for several years now, I guess. He is our certified crash reconstructionist. So if it's a really bad crash, he's one doing the math. And I trust his math. It's not a friend of mine, but he gets along well with it. But he is also what is called a drug recognition expert. And that is not a common thing among police officers. We all are trained in field sobriety and how to recognize this or that and stuff like that, but that goes a little bit more in depth. The special thing about Matt, though, he has been recognized in our criminal court system as a certified expert, and that is just an uncommon ground. So when he is testifying, his testimony is given to the jury in an expert manner. So whatever he says is gospel, basically what it comes down to. But the Tennessee Highway Safety Office recognized him as Drug Recognition Expert of the Year just recently. And all of these gentlemen, like I said, have excelled in their area. They were most recently recognized in the Tennessee Association Chief of Police newsletter. So statewide, they know that here in Kingsport, we've got the cream of the crop. And I appreciate your time letting me recognize these gentlemen because it is mostly well-deserved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Our next recognition is from Andrea Salyer. And Andrea, if you'll come to the podium. Andrea is here tonight to recognize the 2022 Cosby Award recipients.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Board of Aldermen. It's great to be here tonight. I have brought we have brought, Madison Green and myself, have brought with us the winners for this year's Cosby Awards. You may have already seen that billboard or two out there, and so that billboard will remain out there for the year. We're going to have it shown quarterly, but I'd like to ask these winners to please come up and be recognized. And with us this evening, we have 6 of the 8 winners. Ribbons Physical Therapy has won the award for New Business Excellence this year. I'm going to have you all come up, and then I'll have you introduce yourself. And Aslan Hope, the Gazelle Award. Window World of Tri-Cities, the Ernie Rumsby Award for Veteran-Owned Business. Veritas Insurance, the Innovation Award. The Salt Oasis of Kingsport Community Impact Award. and Redesign Architecture Group, LLC, Distinguished Business Excellence Award. And I'm going to step out of the way, and if you'll just let the mayor and Board of Aldermen know what your business does, I think they would be interested in that. Go first.
Good evening. My name's Johnny King, and I'm representing Ribbons Physical Therapy. My wife is the owner of the business. We opened right when the world was shutting down. We saw our first patient May the 8th of 2020. And so needless to say, we've been through some challenges. But we're unique in the physical therapy world in that we only treat cancer patients and patients who suffer an illness called lymphedema, which is a common side effect from cancer treatment. We wanted to create a space where these patients who have body image issues with no hair or swollen body part that could come into a place that they feel safe and the healing could begin as soon as they walked into the door. So, and we appreciate this recognition. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Aslan Edwards. I am a 27-year-old female business owner, and I have a store in downtown Johnson City. We opened right before the pandemic as well, but we have persevered, and our business has really taken off this year, and it's been an honor to be a part of Cosby and a part of Kingsport and the Johnson City area. So I own it's bringing clothes from all over the world, and we bring them to Johnson City. So we travel all over, and we've been able to do that now for 3 years, and we're looking to extend our business. We ship all over the world and hopefully grow into different parts of the community. So I'd love to see you guys come and support us in downtown Johnson City. Thank you.
We're Bobby and Sonia Pollard, owners of Window World of the Tri-Cities. Do exterior home remodeling, windows, siding, doors, roofing. Been in business 25 years. Was recognized and had the opportunity to be recognized as Cosby Award veteran business owners, and a great opportunity for us to raise our veterans up. And we have hiring programs for our veterans and do all that in-house. But always been a blessing to work here in Kingsport, and look forward to another 20 years. Yeah.
And I'm Andy Warner with Veritas Risk Management Insurance Services. We have offices in both Boones Creek and here in Kingsport on Market Street. And we use technology and innovation to try to make the experience easier and more accessible for our customers, and began a new program that launched E&O, similar to malpractice insurance for real estate agents and brokers countrywide. And along with one of the other coworkers there at Veritas, we're featured on a YouTube reality show. So we try to make use of technology to spread our message far and wide, but home is here in Kingsport. Thank you.
Hey there, everybody. My name is Savannah McDavid. My mother-in-law and I own the Salt Oasis Kingsport in Colonial Heights, and we've been there, since 2018. We do alternative health, so salt therapy, infrared light therapy, infrared sauna, things like that. And we are two-time Cosby Award winners. We're very grateful for that, and we won the Community Impact Award because we love our community. We love Kingsport. We love this community, and we do a lot. I didn't even realize how much, but we do a lot, and we're honored to do it. And if you guys need any relaxation, come on, see us. We're in Colonial Heights.
I'm Katie Casebolt of Redesign Architecture Group. I was honored with the Business Excellence Award. I've been in Kingsport now for 7 years, and so being new to a community, I still consider that new. It's been really great to see how embracing everybody has been. I provide architecture, primarily multifamily and commercial. So I've done a lot of work with a lot of people in this room. And then most recently doing work with the city of Kingsport as well. So thank you for that, and I look forward to the continued support of the community.
Thank you. Thank you all. And congratulations for being this year's 2022 Cosby Award winners. As you know, it's a pretty rigorous process. They turn in an application. There were 31 finalists, so these 8 businesses were selected. They went through an interview with a panel of judges, and they were the final selection, the best of the best. Congratulations, and thanks for having us tonight.
Andre, thank you for bringing the award winners, and we really appreciate small business.
All right, we have no appointments on the agenda tonight, so we'll move into the approval of minutes. We have minutes from the work session on December 19th, 2022, minutes from a called meeting on December 19th, 2022, and the business meeting on December 20th, 2022. We'd ask that you approve these minutes as submitted, please.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve all three sets of minutes tonight? Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second? A second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. At this time, citizens may speak on agenda items. You can come forward to the podium and please state your name and address and sign the register that is provided. You're encouraged to keep your comments non-personal in nature, and they should be limited to 5 minutes. A total of 30 minutes is allocated for public comment during this part of the agenda, and a reminder, it is for items that we're going to vote on tonight on the agenda. Are there any citizens that wish to come forward? If not, I declare this part of the proceedings to be concluded. Mr. City Manager.
All right, our first item is a public hearing. This is a consideration of an ordinance amending the zoning code by adding additional residential use as permitted use on the second floor or higher floor of a building in a B3 highway-oriented business zone. Ken Weems is our planning manager, and he will conduct the public hearing. Ken?
Thanks, Chris. This is a city landowner requested zoning text amendment, and what it does add residential use on a second floor, excuse me, or higher floor of a building in one of our B3 zones. So taking a look at the mechanics of how the zoning code would change, I have right here on the screen. Under the uses, we show that use being added as a principal use. And at the same time, we're going to remove the residential from the prohibited uses in the B3 zone. During the Planning Commission meeting, we all agreed that something like this would facilitate lower infrastructure costs, higher property assessments, and healthier walkable places. Just like any other change, we look at what other cities do, and both Johnson City and Bristol both already allow this. I did want to mention the site, or show you a graphic of the site where this could very likely first take place. You might remember our rezoning out by Allendale to the R4 for the apartments. The same owner has that parcel right there identified, the frontage along Weststone Drive, and most likely he wants to facilitate this use on that site. I did include a picture of what this could look like, what it looks like in other cities, just as an example. The public hearing notice was published on January 2nd, and during their December meeting, the Planning Commission voted this into positive recommendation to the board in support of the zoning text amendment approval. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
Thank you. Board, questions, comments for Mr. Weems? Ken, do you know what kind of business he's going to put there?
No, sir, I don't. I don't know if that's completely been decided yet, but we've had quite a few conversations about the possibility or finding a way to put residential on the second and higher floors. So this is really all that's paving the way for. So
you've had no public opposition?
No, sir, no. No, we have not had any at all.
Any other comments or questions, board?
This is not just for that site, this is for any zoning, anything that comes up that's in that zoning.
Yes, ma'am. B3 zone citywide, absolutely.
If there's no further questions or comments, then I'll declare that a public hearing is now open regarding this measure, and any citizen that wishes to come forward to comment may do so. Are there any citizens that wish to comment? If not, then the public hearing is adjourned, and thank you, Tony. And Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend Section 114-195 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kingsport, Tennessee, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Vice Mayor. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Our next item is consideration of a budget adjustment ordinance for various funds in fiscal '23. You can see from the text in the executive summary, some of this is closing out projects. Others are providing a necessary match for grants or also receiving grants that have recently been awarded to the city of Kingsport, as well as donations that have been brought forward. And then also the last item is moving funding around within the sewer project fund. This actually addresses another item that you all will take up later in the agenda. So if there's no questions, we'd ask that you approve this ordinance on first reading, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend various fund budgets for the year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Alderman. A reminder, this is an ordinance at first reading, so it would be a voice vote. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is coming to you on second and final reading. This is a consideration of an ordinance to amend the fiscal '23 general purpose school fund budget. We'd ask that you approve this item again on second and final reading.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the general purpose school fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, a second reading of an ordinance requires a roll call vote. Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper.
Aye.
Alderman Duncan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor George.
Aye.
Alderman Montgomery.
Aye.
Alderman Alderman.
Aye.
Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of a resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment to the agreement with Gordon Food Service for the Kingsport City Schools nutrition services, grocery and beverage items, and authorizing the mayor to sign all applicable documents. This comes to us from the Board of Education. Much as what we are seeing in our grocery stores and with other goods, inflation has had a significant impact. So is the case with our Kingsport City Schools nutrition program, the school lunches. And so in anticipation of this, the contract was set up to where if an adjustment needed to be made mid-year, it could be done so. You see that in front of you, the adjustment increasing a little over $300,000 in terms of what they anticipate to spend between now and June 30. And so we would ask that you approve this resolution authorizing this amendment for this service.
As I recall, this does come to us at least once a year.
Yeah, you typically will vote on historically what we voted on, typically as we get into the budget season, is the approval of these agreements. But it is rare that they come back to us, and again, this is just a sign of inflation. It's costing Gordon Foods more to provide this, and thus that's being passed on to the schools.
Yeah, the increases jump out at us. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment to the agreement with Gordon Food Service for Kingsport City Schools nutrition services, grocery and beverage items, and authorizing the mayor to sign all applicable documents.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Alderman. Is there a second? Let's see. I think it was Miss Betsy, second, Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of a resolution awarding the proposal for a concession foods service distributor for the Kingsport Aquatic Center to H.T. Hackney Company. We opened bids on December 22nd of this past year. Hackney was the sole submitter, but they have been a long-time provider of concession services for the city of Kingsport. And so we'd request that you move forward with executing this agreement for them to continue providing that service to the Kingsport Aquatic Center.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the renewal of the Kingsport Aquatic Center concession food service distributor proposal with H.T. Hackney Company and authorizing the city manager to execute purchase orders for the same.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of a resolution ratifying the mayor's signature on the certification of local official that the Public Housing Authority plans are consistent with the consolidated plan document. This comes to us from the Kingsport Housing and Redevelopment Authority. We are required to sign off on the changes that have been put in place here to ensure that they are consistent with the CDBG or the Community Development Block Grant Program. And so that we'd ask that you approve this resolution allowing for the mayor's signature on this plan. Be happy to answer any questions.
Well, you know, for our new citizens, I guess we'd have to emphasize that the city does considerable business with our Housing Redevelopment Authority on a variety of topics.
Well, we do everything from a lot of the work that we do on their properties or associated with their properties, and most recently, a tremendous amount of work on the redevelopment side and the work that they've done in managing the multiple redevelopment districts we have.
And the community development block grants.
Very true. Yep.
Okay, Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution to ratify the mayor's signature on the certification by state or local official of the Public Housing Authority plans consistency with the consolidated plan document and any and all other documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of this resolution.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is to approve a change order to Merrill Brothers, Inc. for the complete digester cleaning. This is an item that takes place at our wastewater treatment plant. Recently, we were awarded a contract to Merrill Brothers for them to do the work there on the site. It's one of these things, until you really get into it, it's very uncertain as to what is in front of you and what work would be required to fully clean that. That was the case here. We went into it with the understanding of X, but we're having to come back through this change order to make an adjustment in the amount of a little over $312,000. The reason for that is just some different work will need to be done, additional solids will need to be removed, and this is an item that has been managed very well by Nikki Enzer and her team. Nikki's here tonight. Appreciate her being here for this. So if you have any questions, we'll be happy to shift those to Nikki. And but if not, we ask that you please approve the resolution.
Well, Ms. Enzer, they showed me a picture of the sludge, and that's when I decided I didn't want to get into that. So, Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution approving a change order to the contract with Merrill Brothers Incorporated to complete the digester cleaning and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents necessary and proper to effectuate the change order.
Thank you. We laugh, but this is a big deal to keep this moving along. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second? Second by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion?
Has all this actually been finished, or is it still in the process?
It's in process.
How long does it take to clean that much?
How long, what's the timeline to complete? It's like a middle school classroom up here.
We're good.
You could use it as fertilizer, couldn't
Move on there.
you? We're in the, reuse here. Any further discussion? I put it on the floor, didn't I?
Yeah,
Okay.
stepped in it too.
Yes. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0, thankfully.
All right,
Next item.
Next item is approval amendment to the City of Kingsport redevelopment plan authorizing additional TIF financing for the Stonegate Plaza redevelopment district. This is the former Walmart site. Mr. Danny Karst is here. He's done an outstanding job on this development as well as several others within the City of Kingsport. Tremendous transformation of this site, former Stonegate shopping center. As we were going through this process and the evaluation of the site, it was determined that there was a storm line that was there. It was going to directly impact the ability for the developer to build 3 additional houses in that initial phase. Agreement was made that the line needed to be relocated out of the development onto the adjacent roadway, and that the tie-in to a storm line there on Stone Drive. What we are asking, and the same thing will be asked of the county commission, is to do this amendment, which allows for those costs to be reimbursed back to the developer for the work that was done. This was one of those things that could have been done by the developer or the city. This was the path of least resistance and has allowed us to move forward. You will recall at December, your called meeting, you approved first readings and changes to the legal description, which allowed us to be able to move forward to allow the developer to be able to sell these lots. So we'd ask that you approve this amendment, and this will allow for the total TIF to be adjusted to a total of $1.5 million.
Okay, thank you. These homes sold fairly quickly, didn't they?
Very quickly.
Yeah. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution approving an amendment to the City of Kingsport redevelopment plan authorizing additional TIF financing and extending the term of the Stonegate Plaza redevelopment district.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Montgomery. Any discussion? Thank you.
Has this already gone before the county, or is it doing us and then going to the county?
It's been to the Housing Authority, it's now at the city, and goal will be try to get on the county commission agenda this month, but it may be February. I'm looking to Danny, as you don't know? Okay. Yeah, you know. Yeah, the goal will be try to move it through there as quick as we can.
Okay, but it will still need the
Yes.
full approval. Okay.
Yes. Yes. In fact, I know today we've been calling some of the county commissioners, just giving them a heads up that this is coming, so I know it's moving forward.
In essence, this just follows the spirit of the original agreement, I guess.
It does. I mean, you're also looking at the storm line as a public asset, so.
Yeah. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The item passes with 6 affirmative votes and 1 abstention. Mr. City Manager.
All right, we now move into the consent agenda. We have 6 items on the agenda. I will read through these. If you'd like anyone pulled for additional information or clarification, please let me know. First is consideration of resolution awarding the bid for the rental of a Caterpillar PM312 cold planer roadway milling machine from Stowers Machinery and authorizing the city manager to execute a rental agreement for the same. Second is consideration of resolution to enter into an agreement with the Tennessee Main Street Program. Third is consideration of resolution to ratify the mayor's signature and authorizing the mayor to sign a release for property damage for National General and its insured Carl L. Newman. Fourth is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a property damage release for Root Insurance Company and its insured Zachary Cornely. The fifth is acceptance of the fiscal '22 annual comprehensive financial report. And the sixth is to approve the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee Serving Tennessee Seniors Grant. Those are the 6 items, Mayor. We'd ask that you approve these items unless, again, you'd like one pulled for more discussion.
Thank you. I appreciate the picture of this milling machine, too.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
impressive. No, the last 2 years we've leased it, and most recently we did an amendment to last year's lease to cover some damages that incurred while using it.
We don't own one.
No, this right now is the preferred path to continue leasing.
Bet a city in Florida or Texas could probably buy one and use it longer, I guess.
Yeah, we got a limited season.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with all 6 items as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Phillips, moved by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? What?
Paul and I were second, and you said James, so it was.
I'll take credit.
Yeah, you'll take
I
credit.
thought he said,
No, it's.
Angie's got it.
did you not say anything? Are you a ventriloquist through your voice? I thought I heard him say it. Okay. Is there any discussion on these consent items? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper,
Aye to all six.
Alderman Duncan,
Aye to all.
Vice Mayor George,
Aye to all.
Alderman Montgomery,
Aye to all.
Alderman Alterman,
Aye to all.
Alderman Phillips,
Aye to all.
Mayor Schul.
Aye to all 6 items, therefore they pass unanimously. Mr. C. Manager.
All right, move into the communications section. Again, just want to extend my appreciation to Lisa Winkle and her team for the outstanding job they did on this past fiscal year's audit, another very outstanding audit. As I mentioned during the work session, a tremendous amount of work goes in by our staff to prepare this. They work really tirelessly from the time that we approve, or really that we close out the previous fiscal year moving forward with the auditors to put this together. Something we take very seriously. The audit committee gets an opportunity to see this in late December. We go through it in much more detail, but the information can always be found on our website. Again, you just simply look for the annual comprehensive financial report for fiscal '22 or any previous year. That information is there. A lot of good statistical information in there, a good way to see how the city is growing in what areas, and as well as other data points regarding the city, and a little bit of information about where we're headed as well. So again, just thanks to that team, and again, echo all the comments that were said about Mike McIntyre. I first met Mike probably early 2000s when he was on the Metropolitan Transportation Planning Organization. He was on that board. He was actually on the Planning Commission serving in on that role as well, but we were working on a very controversial project at that time, which is Airport Parkway North. And Mike and I and others sat through many, many meetings regarding that matter. And Mike was just the consummate professional with that as he came onto the BMA. Very much the same way. It's just a real joy to work with. You always knew where you stood with Mike. He was a huge supporter of city staff, and so it was really great to be able to recognize Mike with Vivian here tonight. And I know I speak for the staff when we say thank you to the board for taking some time to do that. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Let's start with Alderman Montgomery. Paul?
Oh, thank you. I failed to mention during our work session a comment that's been given to me, and it's about our communications department. Adrian, I told her in between the meetings that people are so complimentary of the staff and communications. They said, before you guys get out of the meeting, we've got to highlight your meeting. So thank you, Adrian and staff, for the hard work and good communication that goes forth for us. The other thing I want to mention, last night I participated, as well as the mayor and Alderman Duncan, in the candlelight service at Shiloh, and a comment was made about how progressive Kingsport City is and how impressed this individual was when he first came to Kingsport at the progressiveness of the city when it came to city, and for a small African-American population that we have here, that we had a vice mayor, and that was impressive to them. In fact, it gave them a warm feeling. And again, thanks for yesterday, all of you who participated in the Martin Luther King Parade. I think that says a lot when we are out front representing the city, as well as school officers participated. So I think that was very good. It speaks well for the city, and I think in the long run it will serve us well. The last item I have is I had the opportunity on Saturday night, as well as Alderman Duncan and Mayor, to attend the Life Saving Crew annual banquet, and our own Chief Phillips was the guest speaker and did a fantastic job. So not only is he training excellent officers, and I applaud you all for your accommodations, but he spoke well and represented the city well. Thank you very much.
You did.
That's it.
Good comments, yeah, you're right. James?
Brief tonight is just echo everything Chris said about Mike. He was a great, great person, and Kingsport was lucky to have him. Also, just piggyback off what Paul said about the parade yesterday and the proclamation the mayor read. It was a really nice day, and the weather was wonderful. If it had been today, we got lucky with the weather, so that was good. And I remember one year it was so cold, your breath was freezing, so it was good. Want to thank the police department I've sent them some emails and some communication. They've been great about reaching out to people, so I appreciate them doing that. And then tonight I want to thank the fire department because on Christmas morning, I had, many of you know, I own some apartments, and we had some sprinklers burst because the weather was so cold. And so try explaining to a 5-year-old why you have to stop opening presents and go deal with somebody's flooded apartment. But as bad as that was, when I got to the apartment building, police at 11 o'clock that morning, the fire department told me that I was their 10th call already that morning. So not only were they not getting to be with their families on Christmas Day, but they were extremely busy because I was their 10th call, I was their 11th call, and I was their 12th call. And then they had 47 calls on Christmas Day for water lines and sprinkler lines bursting. So extremely busy day, and they not used to having, I'm sure that is very unprecedented to have to work that hard on Christmas Day and go, go, go. So just really thank them for everything they did that day. I know it was busy, and I know it was a tough day, so appreciate everything y'all did. That's all I got.
That's a great comment. The city manager is on duty 24/7, and he kept all us informed, blow by blow on all the fire department, police department, and all the stuff they're doing, you know. Tommy?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I've had some terrible sickness within my family. My daughter has been on a ventilator for 14 days. And hopefully she's getting better. I spoke to her today, the first time in 14 days. So I'd ask everybody who's listening, please pray for my daughter. That's it, Mayor.
Tommy, and she went off the ventilator today, though,
Yes,
right?
she did. I hope
news.
she's not on it
Well, look,
when I get home.
on a positive note, the Tribe Athletic Center complex looks great.
Yeah, it does.
They really did a good job with that.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Thank you, Tom. You're good. Daryl?
Well, everything's almost been said that I had really to talk about. I will say one thing, it's very fitting, I think, that we recognize Mike tonight when we had a finance meeting. And, it seemed like that just kind of fell into place because I got to serve with Mike for 2 years. And if there was anybody more in-depth in that finance meeting that you go to, it was Mike. And he had reviewed every page over and over. Alderman Cooper and I, we were talking about that earlier. And certainly he was in-depth, and he was hard to follow with that. You know, he'd say, he's like Lisa, you know, 348, page 348, and goes back to 147, and it was just, Mike was very thorough on that. I, too, was going to comment for Chief Phelps and being the keynote speaker for the Life-Saving Crew. And you knocked it out of the park. It was a very good speech that you had, and so I know it's very much appreciated. Also, Alderman Montgomery is on the board, and we appreciate your work with the Life-Saving Crew as well, too. And then visit Kingsport. Through the month of February, they have, every weekend, they have multiple things going. There's 3 swim meets through the month of February for men and women at the collegiate level. And then there's AAU volleyball one weekend. And then basketball starts at the collegiate level, too. So that starts in February, right on through each weekend, and that is heads and beds for Meadowview. So we look forward to have them, and hope people can go up and kind of meet and greet some of those people. So, and Lisa, thank you very much for the work that you do. It's the financial report, this doesn't come just by waving a wand. It is very comprehensive, and it's got that in the title for a reason, so.
And Chief Boyd, several of your folks augment the Kingsport Life Saving Crew, correct? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, Miss Betsy.
Just, I guess, to piggyback on a lot that's been said, you know, as we sit up here twice a month and listen, everything that we hear is so outstanding. I mean, from today, you know, listening to Lisa present our comprehensive financial report and listen to what the auditors say about it, and then when Chief Phipps got up and talked about our police officers and all their accommodations, it's just everything that we do here is just something to be proud of. And also, I said, we've all said something about Mike. I said about a year ago, I guess, I texted Mike and told him, I said, you know, in the last 8 or 9 years of my life, 2 of my biggest passions were a direct result of him. He hired me in 2015 to be the director of the Child Care Center at First Broad Street. And that's been a passion of mine every day since then. And then he also asked me if I'd like to serve on the Isaiah 117 board. It's been 5 or 6 years ago, and that still is a passion of mine. I'm still on the board, and so those 2 things in my life are things that I'm still so passionate about, and he is a direct result of Mike McIntyre appointing me or directing me to those 2 things in my life. So he probably didn't realize what an impact he made on my life and what I have been able to do because of him. So I was glad I just out of the blue one night, I was sitting there thinking about those 2 things and just shot him a text message just to thank him for what he'd done in my life. So, you know, it's amazing. Sometimes you touch people that you don't even realize that you've made an impact on their lives. So the only other thing I can think of is our trees have left Glen Bruce Park and Centennial Park, and it's kind of empty looking over there now, but I was so glad to hear they went to feed the goats.
There you go.
So, yep, so they were recycled to our goats, so that was a good thing. Oh, we're all about recycling our goats. But that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Miss Betsy. Vice Mayor?
Well, everybody's hit on a lot of things. I do also want to really thank Lisa and, you know, what Betsy was talking about too. We sit up here and we do get to see so many people presented for the awards we win. We have so many awards that are presented to our different departments throughout the year, and we take that much, I mean, I take it for granted. I mean, Lisa has won, you know, the award on this, I think, for well over 22 years for this document that I really started thinking was the normal for cities until I served in other organizations, and I realized again how wonderful our staff is, how much we do in this city. And I want to thank the audit committee, and I said, Lisa, when she presents to our committee there, I mean, it's well over an hour with very details and page by page, and this is a great report, and I almost wish that somehow we could have this where every individual in the city had this report in their hands so they could look at it to realize what all the city does, where we are at financially. There's great data in this, and you know, I normally take it to my office and leave it on my desk, and it's amazing how many people come in and look at different parts of it for different things, and the work that goes into this. Said I really do appreciate Lisa, and I mean, you know, she knows everything that's in here. But I appreciate the city, and I appreciate the city staff, because I said this is, having sat here at different times, I expect our staff to win every award. I expect our police to get every award. I expect our organizations, because we always have. But that's not the normal on other cities and other counties. You never have the amount of data that we are presented and privileged to have sitting in these seats. And other areas don't have as great a staff and leaders that we, and I feel at fault, I mean, too, I take for granted, like James said, the fire department having 47 calls on Christmas Day and being nice about it and coming out and constantly doing it. We think, well, of course, they're great people, that's what they do. But that really, all of that is an exception, and we have such quality that we take for granted. And I don't say thank you enough to our staff, and I really do appreciate the work that goes in, and I know how much my eyes were opened when I was serving in other positions that don't operate like the city of Kingsport, and I'm grateful to be here.
I'm looking over there at Nikki, you know, a bunch of the water folks were out during that time, too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it wasn't just the fire, it was, and the police was out, and, you know, I sat by my warm little fireplace very happily, being very quiet, and my life was good.
Okay.
But, you know, the staff performs all the time, and at such a great level that I appreciate them.
All right. Of course, if it doesn't work out, it's your fault, right? Okay, well, he does okay, too.
Just okay.
That's day to day.
Makes you feel good?
Listen,
Excellent, you're doing okay.
I can't top what the vice mayor said directly to Vivian McIntyre, but I would say this. Mike and I were friends before we were opponents for mayor, and we were friends during the campaign, and we were friends after the campaign. And Mike was always ready to offer me advice or his views, and he was truly a selfless servant to the city, and he's missed. At our work session earlier today, we had 3 great presentations. I'm looking at our reporter from the Times News, Rick Wagner. I hope he's going to write up something about the Regional Recovery Center that's going to be in Roan Mountain. I feel like my colleagues here are going to vote to donate part of the drug settlement money that we got toward this center, because I think this center can really do great work for our region. I mean, it truly gives people a last chance to not only get off an addiction, but to turn their lives around and become a productive citizen. So, you know, human life is valuable, and we don't want to waste human life. The audit, well, they've already said that, my colleagues, about the audit. That was a great presentation and gave me a lot to review here. But the bottom line is 22, 23 years that we've had these clean audits and recognized for our financial excellence. So that's great. And then finally, our own public affairs folks spoke about how all the effort that they make to communicate with citizens. And I just say keep doing it, because it's a never-ending job. I peruse social media and so forth. The city manager tells me don't do that, but I look at it, and sometimes people just misunderstand what we're doing. So you have to tell them and explain it over and over again. And I don't think there's that many people that maliciously spread bad information, but there is bad information that's promulgated on social media and all that, and it's easy to get the right story from the city. There's as Ms. Batera outlined, there's so many ways you can access information from the city, and you can always call one of us, and we'd be happy to answer your questions as best we can. Okay. With that,
Question before you leave.
Yes, sir.
When's the next meeting? It's not listed on here.
Our next meeting will be the first Tuesday in February, and I'll have to.
It's the 6th and 7th. 6th on.
February 6th, a Monday, and February 7th, Tuesday night business meeting like we're in right now. At this point in the proceedings, I invite citizens to come forward to the podium if they wish to speak about items of general civic interest. Please keep your comments to 5 minutes, and they should not be personal. They should be focused on civic matters. Are there any citizens who wish to come forward to address the board? Yeah, Mr. Danny Karst, come on up. For the record, yeah, for the record, please state your name and address.
My name is Danny Karst. Address is 125 West Center Street. I just want to say thanks to John Rose for putting this together expeditiously, because it's something we sort of completed back in late September. I know we went through a little bit of a squeeze there, and Bart got on it, and y'all doubled down and had extra meetings to get that thing through. Real critical. Sometimes you don't see it at the moment, how critical it is to get some things done, but while some things may seem small, at the time, they're real critical, and that one was really good that we got that through. I do want to thank, and I really want to say, Tom, I'm really glad that you was able to give a good report tonight. So, and I want to say that
Mr. Karst, can I interrupt you for a minute? You mentioned John Rose. Let me just remind our citizens, Mr. Rose is our Director of Economic Development in the city, and he works on recruiting business, but he also works on helping existing business with all kinds of situations, and we appreciate what he does. He works directly for the city manager, and obviously he helped Mr. Karst. And so, Danny, go ahead.
Well, he just did a great job with the team, because that was one that was kind of a moving target all the time, and he was there, come up and checked on it. He wasn't supposed to. Come up and checked on the guys, and pretty intense little project for our crews to try to do in such a short time. And there was sewer lines, water lines in the wrong places. Gas was mismarked 2 or 3 times, and but they was out there in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, making sure things were right. And I just wanted to say, on my street, my former street on Dobbins, we had a break on Christmas Eve, and those guys were out there, and it was miserable.
The Public Works guys.
Yeah. I mean, it was miserable, and so I went down and visited with them, and they wasn't one of them complaining. I was saying, it's pretty rough. Because they kept thinking they had it, and they really had to go deeper and deeper. Good work, nobody complaining.
Yeah, thank Ms. Ensler there on your way out.
Yeah, they did a great job. I mean, but I want to say that, and then I also want to say, we mobilized this week at Westgate, where the old Walmart was at. 2 years ago, we mobilized, started digging this week. And it's been a phenomenal thing that the way the turn of events, it wasn't so much that we did anything phenomenal, as much as the way the takes were taken, and we were under contract, we were not supposed to start the final phase, 25 single families and 14 until the road work and sewer work until like late October of this past year. So the good thing is all the foundations, at least on the single families, are all started. And for us, for all of us, it's a sigh of relief. And, if you might remember, we estimated those homes, and we think at the time we were close to right at $230, and the average selling price there now is $304 and so in the TIF makes me feel a little bit more comfortable but then again, I know that's a double-edged sword because of the on the people trying to buy. It's hard on them. It's harder than it was. So, but in all things, it's just the fact that we're thankful and grateful that, we've worked through this little tough squeeze here, and hopefully we have more to do in the city of Kingsport. And I appreciate everything that everybody that pulls for us and bears with us does to help us, including you all. Most of you all visited with us and spent time with us and kind of trying to learn our story and where we're trying to go. And we still have a pretty high aim of trying to produce some good results for Kingsport in this region. We desire to do that. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. We appreciate the fact that there's still a lot of work being done on creating new housing. So thank you. Thank you, sir. Are there any other citizens who wish to come forward? If not, we adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight for the Kingsport BMA meeting. This program has been a production of the City of Kingsport in cooperation with Milligan Productions, Milligan University, and Charter Communications. For more information, visit kingsporttn.gov.